Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and tonight our focus continues to remain on the controversy, the big political controversy that has erupted across the country about Vasundhara Rajya, about Sushma Swaraj, the External Affairs Minister, and their help to Lalit Modi, the former IPL chairman who's now a fugitive from the law. The Congress dragging the Prime Minister into the issue as well. What's the fallout of that? We'll be talking about that to a special guest as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. The Congress and the BJP treat charges on Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raj's help for Lalit Modi. The party says the Prime Minister must answer. Political parties interpret BJP leader LK Advani's remarks on emergency. BJP claims comments not aimed at individuals but institutions. On a 10-day visit to the United States, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley assures global investors on concerns over reform process, promises stable policy and tax regime under Modi government. Hate crime in the United States. 9 people shot dead during prayer service at historic African-American church in Southern Carolina. Police looking for a white male in his early 20s. And Russian officials question claim of giant step for mankind, seek investigation into the US moon landings and Apollo mission. Well, our top story this evening, BJP veteran LK Advani today created a storm of sorts by saying he fears a repeat of the emergency. In an interview, he expressed concern that forces that could crush democracy had become stronger in India. Political rivals of the BJP interpreted the remarks as a dig at Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
BJP patriarch Lal Krishna Advani says he fears a repeat of the emergency. In an interview to a newspaper, he said forces that can crush democracy have become stronger.
This clearly indicates that Mr. Advani has no faith in BJP government and no faith in the leadership Mr. Narendra Modi. And he clearly visualizes that under the leadership of Mr. Modi and the government of the BJP is every day crushing Indian democracy and creating a situation and ambience where emergency is not far.
Advani was speaking ahead of the 40th anniversary of the 1975 emergency next week. He said in the interview that he doesn't see any outstanding aspect of leadership or even a commitment to democracy.
Mr. Advani is a very senior leader of our country, whether we agree or not. I have mostly disagreed with whatever political positions he's held. But if he is giving such a warning, that must be taken seriously. And that coincides with the warning we have been giving for over 2 months. So unlike the experience of emergency where after bitter fight we re-established democracy in India, before such a danger comes again, it has to be nipped in the bud.
The BJP was quick to clarify on Advani's comments. Party spokesperson MJ Akbar said that the senior wasn't referring to individuals but institutions, a view that even the RSS echoed.
I think Advani ji was referring to institutions rather than to individuals. I respect his views, but I personally don't see any chance of any emergency being reimposed in the country. I think that age is over. Indian democracy is too strong, much stronger now.
कोई अपने पद के लिए, अपने सत्ता पर जो अपना आसन है उसको टिकाने के लिए इमरजेंसी लाएंगे ऐसा मुझे लगता नहीं. अडवाणी ने किस संदर्भ में कहा ये तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन मैंने उनका सारा इंटरव्यू पढ़ा है. लेकिन इमरजेंसी आएंगी ही नहीं कभी, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. आखिर अपने संविधान में उसकी व्यवस्था की है.
Advani, who played a key role in the BJP coming to power in the 90s, was the Deputy Prime Minister under Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He is now a part of the Margdarshak Mandal, which is confined to an advisory role in the party. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has assured global investors that efforts are being made by India to accelerate the reforms process, tax regime and political stability. Speaking to the press late on Wednesday at the New York Stock Exchange, Jaitley said that the Indian government is restless to boost economic growth from the current 7.5% and will set higher GDP targets in the coming years. Jaitley is on a 10-day trip to the United States to meet investors and top CEOs. He also said that he is in the United States to hold dialogues with a larger body of investors to bring more investments into India. And our focus story for the evening, the Congress today demanded an answer from Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the Lalit Modi issue. They said the episode raises questions as to whether there were more people involved from the BJP. This even as Congress workers held protests against the Rajasthan Chief Minister, demanding her immediate resignation. Home Minister Rajnath Singh also met the Prime Minister to discuss the matter.
A galvanized Congress on Thursday going all out to embarrass the BJP, asking the Prime Minister if his minister Sushma Swaraj and Party Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje helped former IPL Chief Lalit Modi with his consent.
मैं ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा, ये मोदी जी के शब्द थे. आज उनकी नाक के नीचे भाजपा पर बड़े बड़े पदों पर बैठे लोग खुलेआम भगोड़ों की, क्रिमिनल लोगों की, काला धन में धंधा करने वाले लोगों की मदद कर रहे हैं और वो मौन व्रत धारण किए हुए हैं
कि कैसे अपने फेवरेट्स की मदद लोग करते हैं, कानून तोड़ने वालों की सहायता करते हैं. तो एक तो ये जो अभी 1 साल पूरा होने के बाद बार बार कह रहे थे कि 1 साल बीत गया, कोई स्कैम सामने नहीं आया, तो ये तो आ ही गया.
खास करके जो लाइन है कि सारा कुछ तो लिखा ही, लेकिन उसके बाद ये कहा कि भारत सरकार को इससे छुपाया जाए. तो उनको पहले से मालूम था कि ये जो कार्य कर रहे हैं या जो बात हो रही है ये कानूनन गलत है, और उसको भारत सरकार से छुपाने के बाद आप एक विदेशी अथॉरिटी को लिख करके क्या दिखाना चाहते हैं.
The Congress held protests in Jaipur over the developments. Opposition party leaders also questioned the BJP's attempts to distance the Prime Minister from the assistance provided to Lalit Modi in getting British travel documents while he was a fugitive.
Great deal of bombastic claims about accountability, about transparency, about corruption-free government. All these were their own claims. We are asking the PM to stand by his own claims that he's made. And why is it? I mean, we are seeing a very uncharacteristic Prime Minister who's not spoken for a week on this issue.
The BJP government responded to the attacks by questioning the links of some Congress leaders with Lalit Modi, claiming that the former IPL boss committed all offences during the UPA rule.
During their regime, everything has happened. Why they have not taken action against this Lalit Modi? Why they have not brought him back to India? Why their ED and other actions, cases could not be continued?
Congress is trying to create a story or make up a story or work in a direction to show the leadership in bad light. We are not going to be deterred. We know Sushma ji, and whatever decision she has taken it consciously. And having said that, we are all behind her.
According to media reports, Lalit Modi hosted Shashi Tharoor, Rajiv Shukla and Vasundhara Raje at a Mumbai hotel in 2010. Reports also say that a company owned by Vasundhara Raje's son and MP Dushyant Singh reportedly received investment from Lalit Modi, who is an old family friend of Raje.
The Enforcement Directorate was after him, seeking his return back to the country. She was doing this to facilitate his staying on in London and outside, rather than helping the government of India in bringing him back to the country, which should have been the normal course for any leader who believes in nationalism.
इस मामले को, इस बवंडर को शांत करने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री को आगे आना चाहिए. वसुंधरा और मोदी दोनों चला रहे थे सरकार. वेल नोन है. उस आदमी को राजस्थान क्रिकेट एसोसिएशन का अध्यक्ष कौन ने बनवाया? क्या है वो? और उसको भारत सरकार को तत्काल बाहर वापस लाना चाहिए.
The BJP maintains that Sushma Swaraj helped Lalit Modi to get his travel papers out of humanitarian concern for his ailing wife. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And let's go across to Nilab Mishra, editor of Hindi Outlook, who joins us to help us understand the fallout of this. Nilab, now the Congress saying the Prime Minister should be held answerable and he should come out and clarify. So the opposition really not letting go of this matter, and each day newer revelations coming in. Is the BJP on the dock in this one?
I think it is. and the first fallout would be a jeopardized session of upcoming parliament. So BJP has to, they have taken a stand that Sushma is in the clear, but they are ambiguous about Lalit Modi. This is a contradiction in the sense that either they'll have to take back proceedings against Lalit Modi, or this thing, and if they do that, this thing will grow, the scam will grow, or they would have to, somehow make the ends meet and try and find a way in which they can actually exonerate Sushma Swaraj, who is, a number of, if you look at it interpretation wise, a number of provisions of Anti-Corruption Act apply in this case, because she was helping a fugitive.
But the defense often is there was no quid pro quo, there was no exchange of money.
That hardly matters, because in one section of which is section 13(1)(d), I don't exactly remember the section, but it is said that if you get something valuable for a private person without any public interest, then it falls under the purview of the Prevention of Corruption Act, and you are liable for prosecution on that count. Now, she'll have to prove that obtaining a British travel document for Lalit Modi wasn't a valuable thing. And there can be an interpretation that it is a valuable thing, which ultimately, if the thing goes to the court will have to decide on that count.
All right, so how do you see this matter developing from here on? We've spoken about Sushma Swaraj. What about Vasundhara Raje? Because as far as she is concerned, the BJP not really backing her as much as they're backing the External Affairs Minister.
Because Vasundhara Raje is more in the dock, in the sense that there is a ED proceedings going on against the investment, so-called investment of Lalit Modi in the company of Vasundhara Raje's son. Now this by all means seems like a case of round-tripping, money going round-tripping, which in layman's term would mean money laundering. So BJP would have to really, we don't know what papers might come out in the end, and what the ED also has, So defending Vasundhara Raje is more untenable than, say, Sushma Swaraj at this point of time, because there are interpretive clauses involved in Sushma Swaraj's case. Here, it's mainly a clear-cut thing.
All right, but what about the fact that the BJP's responses there were other leaders from the Congress itself. They mentioned Rajiv Shukla, they mentioned leaders from the NCP, Praful Patel and Sharad Pawar. In fact, Lalit Modi himself has mentioned these names. So as far as Lalit Modi is concerned, he's a kind of a person who everybody across the political spectrum knew, because he at one point in time, of course, was very powerful and was legitimately the IPL commissioner. So in that sense, are a whole host of political leaders guilty by association with Lalit Modi?
Look, that is a moral question, and I would say that there is improper conduct even on their part. But to prove criminality, there has to be a paper trail. If a paper trail exists against them, then the government would be quite right in going against them too. But two wrongs do not make one right. So if government goes towards that direction, then it would have to go in that direction for Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje also.
All right,
direction of booking them and prosecuting them under law.
All right, we'll leave it over there for now, but thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand this developing story, new developments coming in each day, and really, as far as the political fallout is concerned, this continues to happen on a daily basis. Nilab Mishra, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand this a little better. Well, moving on to Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi, who visited the family of a debt-ridden farmer Surjit Singh, who committed suicide last week. In fact, he did that today. The Congress president had met the farmer a month ago. In the previous meeting, the farmer had apprised Gandhi of the farmers' woes in his village. Surjit Singh had shared his fears with Rahul Gandhi that more farmers would commit suicide if ignored further. The Congress has announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees to the family. Rahul visited Punjab shortly after he came back from his 57-day break from active politics.
हमारे को जी भरोसा दवा के गए हैं कि हम हमारे साथ वो हमारे साथ खड़े हैं और हर टाइम दिन रात जब भी फोन जी कर कोई दिक्कत आए तो हमारे साथ फोन करें और कॉल करके हमारे साथ गल करो तो हम आपका सलूशन बताएंगे डरने की कोई लोड़ नहीं।
सबसे पहले तो मैं बता दूं कि हम परिवार के साथ पूरी पार्टी बतौर इस इलाके का एमएलए होने के नाते हम पूरे परिवार के साथ परिवार की तरह खड़े हैं। परिवार की एक एक जिम्मेदारी किसी तरह की भी अभी जो परिवार को 2 लाख रुपया पार्टी की तरफ से हम दे रहे हैं आज।
Time now for all the other national stories and updates in Nationwide. The pressure is building on the UP government in connection with the death of journalist Jagendra Singh. The UP Governor Ram Nayak has advised Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav to conduct an impartial inquiry in the case. Meanwhile, a lady friend of the journalist and the sole witness in the case made a U-turn and claimed that Jagendra had set himself on fire. The protest over the appointment of actor Gajendra Chauhan as the chairman of FTII continues. Students have now made a spoof video suggesting that Chauhan, whose nondescript film career spans a list of C-grade movies and commercials, is not eligible for a post. Meanwhile, the alumni have also joined the protesting students and are sticking to their demand for revoking Chauhan's appointment. A Bangladeshi national named Nazrul, believed to be the main accused in the gang rape of the 72-year-old nun, has been arrested by the West Bengal police. Nazrul was the accused was nabbed from the Sialda railway station. So far, 6 people have been arrested in the case. Time for us to take a quick break, but coming up on the other side, the World Health Organization praises South Korea for its handling of the MERS outbreak, even as the death toll goes up to 23. More details on the other side.
साइंस की खबरें हो या तकनीकी उलझन।
नमस्कार, विज्ञान और तकनीकी से जुड़ी खबरों के साप्ताहिक कार्यक्रम ज्ञान विज्ञान में आपका स्वागत है।
विज्ञान की फिल्में हो या फिर अन्वेषण।
जर्मनी में भारतीय मूल के वैज्ञानिक और उनकी टीम ने हृदय रोग और फेफड़ों के रोग से संबंधित शोध में एक बड़ी सफलता हासिल की है।
वैज्ञानिकों से मुलाकात, सब कुछ एक साथ। देखिए हर हफ्ते ज्ञान विज्ञान सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, in a shocking incident, 9 people were killed in a shooting at an African-American church in the U.S. state of South Carolina. Police officials are looking for a white man who opened fire and are calling it a hate crime.
Shooting rampage at a historic African-American church in South Carolina. A white man opened fire at a prayer meeting, killing 9 people inside the church, including the pastor.
I do believe this was a hate crime. The investigation continued. We were able to determine that there were 8 deceased individuals inside of the church. 2 individuals were transported to MUSC. One of them has died. So at this point, we have 9 victims in this heinous crime that has been committed.
A woman who survived the shooting said that the gunman let her leave so that she could narrate the incident. According to her, the gunman sat in the church before he opened the fire. The suspect is still at large.
We are looking for a white male, approximately 21 years old, sandy blonde hair, and he obviously is extremely dangerous. And what we are asking that if anyone in the community has information about this particular individual, that he contact law enforcement immediately.
City Police Department, County Police Department, the State Law Enforcement Division, other municipalities, the FBI, and others are all combined and working with us to make sure that we catch this awful person and bring him to justice as soon as possible.
Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church has a historic significance. The church has its existence since 1816, when African American members of Methodist Episcopal Church formed their own congregation after a dispute. The church website says it has one of the largest and oldest black congregations in the region. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The World Health Organization on Thursday said that the outbreak of MERS in South Korea was a wake-up call but does not constitute a global emergency. This as South Korean authorities stepped up control measures to contain the spread. Meanwhile, the total number of fatalities from MERS has reached 23.
Malls, theatres, all public places in Seoul being disinfected. This is among a slew of measures taken by the government to prevent the spread of the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome or MERS. The outbreak of the disease is a big threat to Asia's fourth largest economy. With 3 more deaths reported on Thursday, the death toll from MERS has reached 23.
확진자는 총 165명입니다. 치료 중인 환자분은 118명이며 퇴원은 총 24명, 사망은 총 23명입니다.
The beginning of the week brought some semblance of normalcy in the country when schools reopened. This was based on a WHO recommendation as the outbreak remains largely confined to healthcare settings. The World Health Organization has praised the country's efforts to contain the outbreak.
The government has really stepped up and give very robust and strong response, and we begin to see the cases coming down. So we must keep up with the efforts, and hopefully, within a short time, we can see the outbreak under control.
Yes, I think we have to strengthen our coordination further. So I hope that you could see with your own eyes.
Yes.
How intensively we are trying to fight against this problem and upgrade our control capability.
Meanwhile, as part of efforts to reassure travelers, South Korea now says that foreign visitors will be automatically insured against MERS. The outbreak has affected tourism, with South Korea staring at losses of over $2 billion. Meanwhile, researchers from the US National Institutes of Health and China's Fudan University continue working on an antibody treatment that could fight MERS. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, conspiracy theories about whether the US ever managed to land its astronauts on the moon have been around for decades now, and it has been a subject of widespread debate in several documentaries and articles as well. So it isn't surprising then that the Russians now want an international probe into the moon landings between 1969 and 1972.
One small step for man, a giant leap for mankind. These are by now the very famous words spoken by US astronaut Neil Armstrong as he took his first step on the moon. Conspiracy theories abound about whether the US actually managed to put its astronauts up on the moon. Theories that have been going around for decades. A Russian official has now asked that an international probe be launched into the various, sometimes shady details surrounding the US moon landings made between 1969 and 1972. In a column for the Izvestia newspaper, spokesperson for Russia's investigative committee, Vladimir Markin, says that an international investigation could help solve a lot of mysteries surrounding the original moon landing. The mysteries he refers to are the disappearance of film footage from the original landing and an explanation about the disappearance of the nearly 400 kgs of lunar rock. Markin writes, "We are not contending that they did not fly to the moon and simply made a film about it, but all of these scientific and perhaps cultural artifacts are part of the legacy of humanity, and their disappearance without a trace is our common loss. An investigation will reveal what happened." In 2009, NASA admitted that the original recordings had been erased. In the same breath, however, they added that all was not lost as the original television broadcast of the landing had been remastered and preserved. The moon rocks are also said to be safe at the Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center in Texas. The timing of the Russian call, however, is now being questioned. After keeping mum for all these decades, why now? The answer to this lies in Markin's article itself. In the article, Markin says US authorities had crossed a line by launching a large-scale corruption probe targeting 9 FIFA officials. So did the fear of losing World Cup hosting rights prompt this Russian call? Well, we'll have to wait for Russia's reaction on that one. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Tell me, Neil, what you were thinking with all of us watching you on the TV.
Time now for some other news from around the world in Global Buzz. An arson attack gutted part of a church on the shores of the Sea of Galilee in northern Israel. The church, which Christians believe is where Jesus performed the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves and the fish, is a traditional pilgrimage site. A Hebrew graffiti was found at the site, leading investigators to suspect that the fire had been set deliberately. 10 people have so far been detained. The US First Lady Michelle Obama visited Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, The Last Supper, painted in the 15th century and displayed at the Santa Maria del Grazie Church in Milan. Michelle Obama was accompanied by her daughters Malia and Sasha and her mother Marian Robinson. They were met by Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, his wife and daughter at the Central Milanese Church. Michelle Obama is on a 5-day visit to Italy. Weeks after an emergency landing in Japan, the pilot of Solar Impulse 2 says the plane is still waiting for an opening in the wall of clouds over the Pacific. Ande Broschberg, who piloted the world record-breaking Solar Impulse 2 from Nanjing, China to the central Japanese city of Nagoya, said if the plane's round-the-world trip was not finished in summer, it would have to wait until next year. Solar Impulse 2 had cut short the 7th leg of a 35,000-kilometer global journey due to bad weather. The United Nations says the number of people displaced by war, conflict or persecution reached a record high of nearly 60 million around the world in 2014. More than 50% of these refugees were children. A document by the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, says the number of people forced to flee their homes rose by 8.3 million from the previous year. Car bombs killed or injured at least 50 people near mosques and headquarters of the Yemen's dominant Houthi group in Sana'a on Wednesday. Coming on the eve of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, the bombings were claimed by IS. 4 blasts rocked the capital as Saudi-led forces conducted more airstrikes against Houthi military bases across Yemen. Some sports news now, and the Swiss Attorney General says he would not exclude FIFA President Sepp Blatter from investigation into FIFA's 2018 and 2022 World Cup bidding. According to him, the investigation office has been working on 53 cases which are involved in suspicious bank relations. Swiss Attorney General Michael Lauber said the investigation started on the 10th of March and are based on reports from FIFA investigator Michael Garcia and the US Department of Justice. Lauber says he was positive on the process and the results they got so far.
Wir versuchen diese enormen Mengen, also in 9 Terabytes an sichergestellten Daten jetzt zu prozessieren, also das heißt einmal aufzubereiten, dann zu analysieren und dann die Schwergewichte für die eigentliche Ermittlungsarbeit zu bilden. Das ist im Moment der Hauptaufwand, den wir machen. Und aus diesen Erkenntnissen werden wir laufend natürlich allenfalls weitere notwendige Ermittlungsmaßnahmen wie Haussuchungen, Einvernahmen etc. planen.
Time now for all the other sporting action in Sportsbeat. Indo-Canadian pair of Leander Paes and Daniel Lester won the opening round of the Queen's Club tennis tournament, a match beating Serbian Viktor Troicki and Spaniard Roberto Batistuta 7-6, 6-3-6, 10-7. They will next face the Spanish pair of Marc Lopez and multiple singles Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal in the quarterfinals. Indo-Romanian tennis pair of Rohan Bopanna and Florin Merghia won the men's doubles quarterfinals of the Jerry Webb Open. The second seeds defeated the Croat-Finn pair of Marin Derangja and Henry Kontinen 7-6, 7-6. Bopanna-Merghia duo will now face the American pair of Eric Butorak and Scott Lipsky in the semi-final. Second-seeded Kei Nishikori advanced to the quarterfinals of the Jerry Webb Open by beating German wildcard Justin Brown 7-6, 6-1. Nishikori wasted 2 set points before firing a service winner to take the first set and gave a demonstration of returning in the second to wrap it up in 1 hour and 9 minutes. Nishikori will now face Poland's Jerzy Jankowicz in the quarterfinals. Well, that's a wrap on news tonight. But before we go, we'll leave you with this. Big serving German Sabine Litzky made a new world record blasting 27 aces in the WTA tournament. The former Wimbledon finalist Liski had hit 16 aces in the first set and 11 more in the second to enter the record books. We leave you with this explosive performance.